What's up, Arkansas fans? Welcome to the QB Spotlight video. And college football season is finally here, so let's go ahead and start with the Week 1 breakdown of the Cincinnati defense and what Arkansas, and specifically KJ Jefferson, needs to do against this defense. So the clips we're watching now is going to be clips from last year, 2021, when they played UCF. So take that with a grain of salt. It's not going to be exactly what they're doing. There's going to be differences, right? But at least it's given us a look of what could potentially happen. So we're going to look at some of this film. Then we're going to talk about what we think Arkansas needs to do to beat or have success against this Cincinnati defense. And before we keep going, we just want to encourage y'all to consider subscribing to the channel if you like any quarterback-related content. We'll be doing these video breakdowns each week, looking at opponents and looking at what quarterbacks need to do. So goes without saying, and anyone that keeps up with college football knows, Cincinnati lost a lot to the draft. They had 9 guys drafted last year from offense and defense combined, but still they had 9 guys drafted, which is the most from any group of 5 program. They also had a few players sign undrafted free agent deals. So they are losing a lot to the draft, so quote-unquote a lot of turnover from the starting lineup of Cincinnati. But last year, they had one of the best defenses in all of college football. And we're getting a glimpse of them right now as they're playing UCF. And we're going to do a little bit more of a breakdown from what their defense is actually doing, but we'll do that here in a few. But one of the best defenses in college football, they were tied for 4th overall defensively in points allowed per game at 16.1. They were tied at 7th overall for yards given up per game at 305. So a stout defense, didn't give a lot of yards, did not give up a lot of points. And you can see this defense here. They're running around, they're moving fast against the UCF offense that is doing not exactly what Arkansas is doing, right? But still, it's a spread concept, some RPO scheme. So it's at least, kind of comparable, if you will. Again, it's week 1, so everyone's just guessing, but at least we have a little idea. So Cincinnati is returning their defensive coordinator. This is going to be a 2nd year, I believe. So I think schematically there'll be some similar things, but of course, losing that many guys, they're going to have to make some changes. And what we're seeing here in all these clips is we're seeing a boundary side scheme and a field side scheme. And I'll go into a little bit more detail what boundary and field side mean, but we're seeing different schemes depending on where the ball is. So we see some press man on one side, we see some off coverage on the other side, and we'll see Cincy kind of drop into cover 3, at least right now against UCF, and I would expect them to do kind of the same against Arkansas, try to keep the ball in front of them. And I also think they're probably going to have a spy on KJ, right? So again, we're going to look at the film and break it into a little bit more detail, but at least you're getting some clips of what they got going on here. So let's talk about what Arkansas needs to do to beat this Cincinnati defense. I think it's fairly simple. I think it is just play their game. Right, I think if they trust the process, play their game, it's okay if you go 3 and out, but if you just play your game and trust that eventually you're going to take over and eventually you're better at what you need to do than what the defense is. The defense has a lot of new players on it, so yes, they're very well coached, but at the same time, if you can just run your system and run the RPO efficiently, then I think there's some big plays that can potentially happen from that. So I think it's fairly simple. Just play your game and let Cincinnati get out of position, right? Let Cincinnati get out of position, and then you can pop 1 or 2 downfield. But I say be patient, keep attacking, and trust that your experience, excuse me, and your familiarity within the offense is going to take over. And the one thing that I think you can specifically do if they give this type of defense to Arkansas is attack the field side. The field side, which we're going to get into in a second, but the field side, there's going to be a bit more space. There's going to be more room for balls to be completed, more room to run. And I think if Cincy has a similar defense that they're showing in these clips, you attack the field side and trust your skill guys to take over and trust your skill guys to beat Cincy's guys in one-on-one situations. So, yeah, this is kind of what we kind of expect from Cincy's defense. They're going to have some different schemes, the field side and boundary side, which we'll get into. But if I'm Arkansas, I want to attack field side. I want to attack the side that has more space, and then I want to run my system, play my game, and just kind of trust what I've been doing and trust that I'm familiar with my offense. The defense has a lot of new guys. Even if they're really well coached, sometimes it's easy to get out of position in game 1. So with all that said, let's go ahead and look at one clip of the Cincy defense in a bit more detail, and we'll talk about kind of what I'm talking about, field side, boundary side. Then let's look at one clip that I think is a good example of what the Arkansas offense could do and how you can attack field side, and then we'll wrap this video up. All right, so here's what I mean by having one coverage on the field side and one on the boundary side. So boundary side, pretty much from the right hash on, we got press man here. Probably we got some type of man or zone concept, but it's necessarily press man, safety over the top of the stack position. We got a backer out here. Boundary side would be from the right hash to the left side. I'm sorry, not boundary side, field side. So field side over here, boundary side over here, and you can see boundary or field side is going to be a little bit different. We got off coverage here, and then we got press man on the slot receiver, with the safety most likely going to be helping over top, but the safety is staying in, making the read so you can come in and help against the run if that's the case. So again, just a quick example of what I mean when saying field side and boundary side. Again, field side of the majority of the field, boundary side, the side closest to the boundary. And you see a lot of defenses have different schemes or different calls for those sides. Boom. So then we see the different stuff here. We got up top safety, like a cover 3 scheme, right? Because this DB's here and this DB glows out here. So again, just an example. Just because you see one thing pre-snap does not mean that's what they're going to do. I just want to show one quick play to kind of emphasize what we were talking about. Field side, boundary side, show one thing pre-snap, and they both go into something different there. So here's an example of a play in what I talked about when you want to attack field side here, right? Because you got more space. And in my opinion, with Arkansas having the players they have, I want to attack the place that has more space. That's usually field side, especially if they're going to give you some room here. And so here's a quick play, just a quick RPO, right? You got pull and guard, people going downfield, then boom, you got space right there. Really easy read. I think the ball is dropped, but this is a kind of the example of a play that I think could have some success against Cincy's defense. Again, assuming they come out in something similar here. So again, attacking the field side, attacking where there's space, and getting the ball out to Arkansas skill guys who probably are a bit faster, more explosive than Cincy's. But then again, I could be wrong. So yeah, just a quick example on the show: attacking field side, get the ball out quick, and then attack where there is space here. All right, Arkansas fans, that's all I got for the Week 1 preview. I know it seems simple what Arkansas needs to do, but I think if they just play their game and stay within the familiarity of their offense, and they could have some success against some new players on Cincy's defense. But just because it's simple doesn't mean executing will be simple. And of course, the coaching staff has a lot more kind of deep dives and game plans than what I just said. But again, Cincy's defense is going to be good. A lot of turnover though, and you saw how they kind of want to attack field side on field side coverage and have your boundary side coverage, which isn't uncommon in today's day and age. Hell, I could be completely wrong though. They could do something totally different, which is probably going to happen considering it's Week 1 and we're going off old film. But I want to hear from you, Arkansas fans, or any Cincy fans in general, quarterback fans, SEC fans. What do y'all think Arkansas needs to do against Cincy's defense to have success, specifically from KJ? Again, I think if KJ can get the run game going, get the RPO game going, then they have a potential to kind of hit some bigger plays after getting that going. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the next quarterback-related video.